So welcome to a Real Estate Center training video on seller lead follow-up. Now, Jazz is on the call. Jazz Takar, say hello.
Hello. Thanks for having
me. You can see the screen and you can hear me, yes?
Yep.
Okay, great. So Jazz and I were talking about seller lead follow-up, so I decided to put together this video training so I wouldn't have to repeat myself 100 times. So Jazz, thanks for helping out with this.
You're welcome.
And we're going to walk you through step-by-step follow-up with a cold lead. Now, what do we mean by that? We're talking about somebody who's not your past client, not your Aunt Mary, not somebody who's basically said, come list me. It's not a warm contact. It's a new contact, somebody who doesn't know you yet, doesn't trust you. And the most common way we get the cold leads is a CMA or a request for CMA, either from a website or from your geographic mailers if you're doing those, or on your website or the company website or what have you. And this is what we're going to walk you through. Number one, you need to call the lead ASAP. Now, before we get into all of this stuff, let me remind you, we're talking about cold leads. Your objective is probably to close 1 out of 5, maybe 1 out of 10. That's the best you can hope for. So, the trick is to follow up, as we've talked about before. And again, when the lead comes in, so if the lead comes in by way of a phone call or an email, try to call the lead back ASAP. And they say that online you have about 15 minutes of fame. I think it's more like 5 minutes. So I don't know about you, but sometimes you'll get a lead. You may try to call them back a few hours later. You get voicemail, and now you're chasing them because they're not around. Ideally, if you can call them while they're still on your website, that's really the ideal. So try to call them ASAP. Now, Jazz asked me a question earlier, and he said, well, what's the best time to follow up with these people as we follow up later on? Well, there's no real best time. So you want to try following up on all your leads 3 times a day. I would try mornings, I would try afternoons, and I would try evenings. You know, because think about it. Some people are, most people are home in the evenings for dinner, that kind of thing, Saturday mornings. But a lot of people are independent like us. They're salespeople or they're shift workers or what have you. So you've got to try different times with different people, okay?
And I also find, sorry, Simon, that even on the weekends you can get a hold of people as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, think about it. Most people on Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, they're home.
Yeah.
They're sitting around in their underwear watching cartoons with the kids or watching whatever they're watching, and they're home. They'll pick up the phone, right?
Yep.
Now, if they've got call blocking and they don't want any calls from Royal LePage, try calling from your cell phone, and make sure that your cell phone is blocked. So that's the other thing too. I don't know if you want that in general, but if you're making a lot of calls to leads and you want your call blocked, that'll probably increase your conversion of people picking up the phone. Okay. Now, number 2, keep your leads organized. I've seen people with loose sheets on their desk and they'll get lost in the shuffle. So we use a color coding system. Our listing files are green, so open a green folder that is your seller leads and keep all your leads there. Print out the lead details and enter them right away into the seller lead checklist, which is going to be attached, an attachment to the email with this video. But as well, it's a Word doc that I'm going to show you in a second that you can edit on the fly. You can type in the information and save it, print it out. Whether you save it on your computer, save it on your iPad, or print it out and have a hard copy, it's an editable file that you can work with. And then we're going to walk through how you research the property on Google, Treb, and so on, print out sales, and then how do you print out a customized pre-listing package, deliver a copy to the home, and follow up as per the checklist. Okay? Any questions so far, Jazz?
No, Simon. Well, one thing, just a quick comment. One thing that I know helped me earlier on in my career was when you taught me how to use a lead tracker. So maybe you can just kind of quickly touch on that, on how you use your lead tracker.
Well, a lead tracker is simply a page that monitors how many leads I've gotten and how many converted to deals. So, for example, if over the course of a year, or let's break it down actually in the course of a month. Let's say over the course of the month you've got 10 leads coming in. You want to know that you probably want to get to about 10% conversion. 1 out of 10 are going to turn into a listing. If you can do better than that, then that's okay. If it's slightly less than that, then you need to work on some of your scripting and some of your follow-up. But the lead tracker simply is a little form. So, for example, in your green folder, you're going to have your loose checklist for each of the different leads. On the left side of the folder, I would literally tape to the left side of the folder a lead tracker that simply has columns. Date the lead received, the name of the lead, and date property listed. So you can quickly scan every month and say, how many leads did I get, how many listings did I get, and you can take those 12 sheets at the end of the year and say, how many leads in total did I get, how many listings did I get, and what's the lead conversion. So very good question, Jess.
Perfect.
Okay, and we actually have a boilerplate seller lead tracker, so I'll include that in the email as well. So you'll have in your email, you'll have a copy of the video that we're doing right now. You'll have the seller lead checklist. You'll have a Word version of the pre-listing package, and you'll also have the seller lead tracking form. So it's very, very straightforward. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of what we're going to talk about. So let's dive in. This is typically the kind of information you're going to get from a lead, whether if it's coming from a website especially. In most cases, the name in the email is going to be correct. The home address is going to be correct because they want a CMA. Probably about 10 or 20 or 30% of the time, they're going to give you an incorrect phone number if they want the information, but they don't want anybody to call. I found that most of the time the number's good, but if you're calling and the number's no good, just cross it off and write wrong number, and we've actually got a strategy for those people that have given us a wrong number. Of course, you've got their address, so we're still going to try to drop by at the house, but you've got a pretty good idea, but not enough information. So the next step is you Google the address, okay? So I picked an address because this was the first house my parents bought, on the Danforth when I was a kid, so I know the street, I know the house, and here what I noticed right away is Google is centering in on this house, and it's the wrong one. This was number 312, and this is a bungalow. So don't rely on this as the be-all and end-all, but it'll at least give you an idea where it is, okay? I'm next going to check Treb. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to search archived listings as well for available and unavailable, because I want to see, is it listed right now? If it's listed right now, there's not much I can do, except if it's been listed if it's been listed for 3 or 4 months, let's say, and they're calling you for CMA. Obviously, they're not exactly happy with their agent because their agent hasn't sold their property. This could be the hottest lead. So you want to get a sense of, where are they? Are they listed FSBO? Are they listed MLS? In this case, what I see was the last time it was sold was 2007, and it was obviously renovated because it was sold twice in 2007, $295 the first time, $400 the next time, just 5 months later. So obviously somebody bought it, renovated it, and that's kind of the story. The reason I want to dive into this a little bit is when I talk to the person, I want to sound educated. Okay, so I want to know, hey, I know you bought your place about 5-6 years ago, and I assume it was renovated when you bought it, right? Because you paid a decent price for it, $400 and change. They don't necessarily know that you're looking at a spreadsheet, guys. They just think that you're really knowledgeable about the area, right?
Great point.
And we assume that they know that we have access to all this information, but just do a little reconnaissance. And you got to remember this. You're going to close 1 out of 10, and if it's a listing and a purchase, because usually when they sell, they're going to buy, right, Jazz?
Yep.
You got 10 grand on the purchase. You got 10 grand on the sale. This is a $20,000 potential revenue. So if you're going to close 1 out of 10, I would say each one is worth $2 grand. That's how I look at it. So am I willing to spend 5 or 10 minutes doing research to make $2 grand on each one?
No brainer.
So that's the way I look at it, okay? And then, over time, what's also going to happen, too, is 1 out of 10 is going to increase, because you know why? A lot of the numbers, a lot of the leads that aren't ready right now, as long as you stay in touch, will eventually be ready. So you add them to your drip system. And then a lot of the ones from last year will start to convert this year, and 1 to 10 will turn into 2 out of 10, and 3 out of 10. Or they'll refer you somebody. All kinds of stuff. I get requests from people that have no intention of selling, but we have a good rapport. I adopt them. They go into my database, and they tell their friends about me. So just think about everybody as a potential raving fan, as a potential advocate, and treat them like gold, and qualify them, take them through the process. So I've checked MLS. And go ahead, Jazz.
I was just sorry, Simon. I was going to mention in terms of if it's you mentioned if it's been listed, say for 3 to 4 months, how much conversation can we get into? Because at the bottom of the flyers or just listed or just sold, it always says not intended to solicit anyone under contract.
Right, but we're not soliciting anybody.
Great.
They've asked us for information.
Okay.
That's a great question because I think there's a lot of confusion out there. Some agents think you cannot contact a person. You cannot talk to them if they're listed with somebody else, and that's not true. They've asked me for an opinion. I can give them an opinion about the area, the market area. In this case, I wouldn't go as far as giving them a CMA on their home.
Okay.
But I would be happy to meet with them to show them the comps again. So one of the things, for example, I've been in that situation many times where the seller is listed, they call me for a CMA, and I'll go in to see them. I can talk about what I do to list a home. I can talk about the market in general. I cannot talk about the current listing. I cannot talk about the current agent. I cannot talk about their marketing, and I cannot talk about their price.
Okay.
You cannot interfere with the existing listing. But here's some of the conversation, for example. I would look at the market area and I would say, well, look, you know, in the last 90 days, 3 sales happened. I'm going to show you the next screen, and this will probably give us a little bit more visible. Let's say I'm talking to the seller right now, and I pulled up the area. And Jazz, you're the seller. So Jazz, listen, I just want to share with you something, okay? Your home is listed for $500,000, but I want to show you that 1, 2, 3 homes sold in your price range, and I guarantee those buyers saw your home and chose these ones instead.
Why didn't they buy mine?
Well, they compared your home to this one, and they chose that one for whatever reason. Now, this one was underpriced by, look at this, underpriced by about $50,000, right, intentionally, for multiples, and they got over 500. They were trying to get 500. They got 505. This one was listed under market, okay, at 489. Got their same price. Now you're listed at 549, and you've been on the market for 90 days. Now, is your home? Let's compare the 2 homes. I'll walk them through it. How does the lot size compare to Milverton? How does, you know? So their strategy was underpricing to get multiples and get it done in a day. Yours is ask for more and try to negotiate down. Well, look at the sale price you've gotten. Nothing.
See, Simon, I think some agents just forget the education process.
Yeah.
Like,
you got to show them, hey, look, 3 homes have sold. That means buyers have seen your home and they've chosen another home. And we need to understand why. You need to understand why. And just by walking them through that, without even giving an opinion, okay, just walk them through that and let them decipher their own thing. They're going to see you as somebody who knows the market. I guarantee you their listing agent has not had this conversation with them, has not taken them down and drilled it down the way I've done it. So here's your target market. Here's the, you know, Woodbine Heights. Here's the area. Here you are on Cedarvale. There's Coleridge. You know, this is the target area. If you know the area, you know that closer to Maine is not as valuable. This side of Woodbine is more valuable. So this is the little pocket you kind of drill down. And what you want to try to do is come off as the not pushy but educated professional agent that's there to give them insight, help them get it done. Okay? And you're not going to get them all, but you're going to position yourself for a better shot at it if you're talking to somebody that's serious. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay? So you've done the research on the property. Okay? You pulled up the recent sales. Now you're going to do a map search, and this is what you're going to print out and deliver with the pre-listing package. And then I would print out the map in color, and then I would take those comps, all of the sold properties. I would eliminate the ones that are substandard. I would eliminate the ones that are better, superior properties. These ones are obviously at $899. They're, you know, new construction homes, because I know that's starting to happen in the area as well. So drill it down to about 5, 6 comparable sales. Print out, very important, print out the flyer version of the full listings.
Why is that?
Well, I think you've seen them, Jazz, where it shows a different format for the listing, and it shows your contact information at the very top of the page.
Okay. Yep.
Now, without saying it, a lot of sellers are going to assume that you're the listing agent. You're not saying you're the listing agent. You're not misrepresenting. You're not going to lie. But some of them are just going to assume that you're the dominant agent in that area, and your contact info is all over it. I'd rather do that than promote the listing broker. Now, very fine print at the bottom is going to show who the listing broker was, but very prominent at the top is the flyer version. It's almost like a feature sheet version of each listing, and it'll print out for the available. So I would give them the available listings. Here's your competition, and I would give them the comparable sales, okay, including this map and the full page summary. So they can see, hey, what I did is I printed out everything in the area. Here's sort of a map, and here's the detailed breakdown, and then I'm going to include it with my pre-listing package, okay?
Sorry, quick question, Simon. Back to the map there.
Yeah.
How far do you go? Are you talking a kilometer radius, a couple of blocks? What's kind of your rule of thumb?
If you know the neighborhood, and you should try to understand it a little bit, I would go just literally a few blocks.
Okay.
And I would go, 90 days past. So if you just punch in T minus 90, it means today minus 90. That's a shortcut for saying listings in the last updated the last 90 days.
Okay.
And what I'm trying to get to is about 5, 6 comparables. So if you go, let's say you pick an area where there's not a lot of turnover, and you go T minus 90 and there's only one. Well, change it to T minus 80 or expand the area a little bit.
Okay.
Till you get to that magic number where there's about 5, 6 comparable listings. Okay. And then you can show them, hey, in the last 90 days there was only one, and the last 180 there was only 3. So it takes a little bit longer to sell in your neighborhood unless you're priced, bang on. Okay?
Perfect.
Now let's walk through the checklist very, very quickly. It's a 2-page checklist. Page 1 is contact information. Page 2 is the scripting. Let's go through the contact information first. So obviously, property address, source, name, phone, email, all the property details, all of that. You want to look at the listing status. Is it not listed? Is it listed for sale by owner? Is it listed on MLS? Some of this you won't know right away, so you're kind of filling in the blanks as you go along, okay?
Okay.
And whatever notes, whatever conversation you have, anything relevant, like they've got 3 kids, they want to stay in a certain school district, they need a finished basement for apartment, whatever, anything that's relevant, put it in there. And the other thing that I do right on the top of this page is, I think I told you this before, I put a happy face if they're nice. So I remember, are these people friendly, cooperative, are they fun, friendly? If they're not, I put a sour face, right? I put a frowny face. And this way, when I go back to call, I can remember, hey, this guy wasn't so friendly, so I'm not going to lead in with super friendly, because people won't relate to that. I'm going to lead in a little softer, right? And right at the bottom, I'm going to detail follow-up calls and visits. Now, I've got 15 boxes here.
Seems like a lot of boxes.
Well, that's kind of what's required.
Okay.
You know, either conversations or face-to-face. And again, if it's a $20,000 transaction file, are you willing to talk to them 10 times?
For sure.
Are you willing to talk to them 20 times? $1,000 a call, right?
Yeah.
So that's how you got to look at it. So every call is $1,000, or however you want to quantify it. But that's where most people fail on this. Is they may make 1 or 2 follow-up calls and then they don't keep going. The real producers keep going. They stay on top of this. They're tenacious, and this is where the money is in the follow-up calls and the visits. Okay, and just pretend like think about this. How many times would you talk to a past client to get their business 5 years from now? Well, you'll talk to them all the time.
All the time.
So this is how you got to look at them. So just assume this is your buddy, and you're staying in touch, and there's no rush, and you'll keep calling, without being an annoying pest.
Sure.
But you'll keep calling and follow up. They say an average of 12 follow-ups is required. I say it's 15 to 21.
Makes sense.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I put the box there, and here's a little shortcut, little shorthand. If I left a message for them, I would put LM. If I contacted them, I would put CON. If it's the wrong number, I put WR, so I know I don't have to call them anymore. If I saw them face-to-face, I would just put live, and I would put the little bit of a date, live, September 3rd. And just keep a track record. So you can see, hey, I met this guy 4 times. And if you met them 4 times, you're going to remember a lot more about them. But just make sure you database it really, really simply. You track it on the checklist right here. And page 2 of the checklist gives you the scripting. Okay? So let's walk through that very quickly. And number 1, always ask for the person that filled out the form. Because if it's husband and wife, let's say John filled out the form, but Mary knows nothing about this. Maybe she doesn't even know that John is requesting information, so always ask for John. So is John there? Yes, John. Listen, this is Jazz with the Real Estate Center. The reason I'm calling is that you requested a market analysis for your home on Cedarville. I just have a couple of quick questions. Do you have 2 minutes for me? And they're going to say, sure, or they're going to say, not right now, I'm busy, or I really don't want to talk about it. I just wanted an email market analysis. You'll get all kinds of answers. Your job is to first qualify with this script, and secondly, try to get an appointment if they are motivated, ready to go. Okay? So it's not a convincing thing, because that's what I see with some of the old sales trainers. They really try to manipulate somebody into a meeting. Like, I've got this bag of gold I'm going to give you, but you got to see me face-to-face to get it. And that's BS to me. Just be polite. Don't be pushy. And try to get a sense of their motivation, okay? So a few quick questions about the property. Maybe, you said detached, 2-bedroom. Is it a 2-story? Is it a bungalow? Make sure you have, all the blanks filled in on this part of the equation. And then go into, some general conversational questions. So, hey, John, how long have you lived in the home? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the house? Are you planning on moving in the next 3 to 6 months? If you were to move, are you planning on staying in the area or moving to another area? And when would that be? And do you have an agent when the time is right? And would you prefer to buy before listing your home, or do you want to sell first? You're just diving in. And don't use this like, I got to use question number 1, then question number 2. Go with the flow. And try not to grill them. This is not, shining a bright light on somebody and tying them up in a chair. Try to make it conversational, flowy. If they're talking about something else, talk about what they're talking about. And if they prefer to buy before listing your home, what do?
You go show them
Go show them
more.
houses.
Yeah.
Go show them houses. Think about it. How many times have you got somebody call you on a listing, on your listing, and then you go show them a house, and they say, well, it's time to sell our house.
Those are the
Time
best.
Come list. Say, great, I'm your guy, right?
Yeah.
So just get into the conversation and find out what they want and help them get what they want, okay?
You know, I think another, just a point that you mentioned, Simon, and so important, is we're not trying to necessarily get the appointment right away. We're just trying to find out the motivation.
Yep.
You know, why are you thinking of selling? So that's a great reminder again.
Yeah, why are you thinking about selling? And, you know, you're trying to find out when is the time to meet. Because I don't want to meet them now if they're not ready. I don't want an appointment just to have an appointment.
Right.
They're not ready for a year. I don't want to waste an hour. Do you?
No, and why waste their time?
Yeah. So, hey, you know what? You're not ready for a year. Would it be okay if I followed up with you at a later time? Here's the second last question. And if yes, when do you think a good time would be for me to call you back? And they'll tell you 12 months. Call me in a year. And, Jazz, when do we follow up?
We cut it in half in 6 months.
Cut it in half. So we follow up in 6 months, okay? And, you know, last question, would you like to receive a free copy of our Market Watch updates to keep you posted on what's happening in the market? It's a newsletter we send out a few times a year. You'll get periodic emails with, you know, interesting articles, what's happening. It's free, and you can unsubscribe anytime. Can I add you to the list, Jazz?
Yep, sounds
Jazz
good.
is going to say sure. So now permission-based, you're adding them to your database. And now if you're sending out something monthly, if you're sending out something quarterly, now you've got another prospect. But they say to follow up in 12 months. I've got another theory. Cut it in half. And if it's longer than 90 days, follow up in 90 days anyways. So don't ever leave a prospect for longer than 90 days. They tell you to follow up in a year, you say, no problem, I will. 90 days from now, hey, Jazz, just touching base. Are you getting our emails? I know you said you're not ready till next spring. I just wanted to touch base, see if that's still the timing you're thinking of. Oh, well, you know what? Actually, Jazz, I just got a job transfer, and we're probably thinking about it closer to February or March. Oh, wonderful. Let's get together.
Right.
You can't believe how often that stuff happens. And we all know of a situation where we didn't follow up on a lead fast enough. We call them or we check online, and they've already listed and sold their property. And the only person to blame is us. So follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, and that's the script, and that's the simple system that you're going to use. Now, what are you going to send them? Well, you're going to send them the pre-listing package. What I would do is this is about a 30-page package. So print up the first page in color. Print the rest in black and white. We don't want to blow our brains out on costs because color is going to be, what, 20, 25 cents a page, and the rest in black and white. Customize the front cover with the seller's name and address, and obviously put your contact information right underneath there as well, okay? Because you want to make it easy for them to reach us. Prepared for seller name, property address here, compliments of Jazz Takhar, roll page signature, sales rep, okay? Simple stuff. Phone number is right there. Make it easy for them to reach you. Page 2, and the rest of it is in black and white, and page 2 is a cover letter, okay, which you separate and you leave loose. So you don't staple it as page 2. You take it separately. You can print it up on letterhead if you have some. You customize it so that your contact info is at the bottom. Save that file, and then all you have to do is customize for first name for each letter. So the letter is like this. Hey, Jazz, thank you for requesting a market analysis of your home. Part 1 of this package will show you detailed info about homes that have sold in the area in the last 3 to 6 months that are similar to yours. This should give you an idea about the general price range in your area. For a more precise market evaluation, we need to inspect the inside of your home, and we're more than happy to do that at a time convenient to you at no cost or obligation. Please feel free to call me or email me or schedule a time for in-home inspection. Here's my name and email. Put it right there in the middle of the letter. Don't make them look for that stuff, okay? Part 2 of this package will discuss in detail what we do to market and sell a home, yada, yada, yada. Thanks again. Sincerely, agent name, sales rep. And at the bottom, again, in bold, my mobile number is this. If you need to contact me quickly, or just email me at jazz@reccanada.com. Make it very, very simple. Again, make this loose and put this on top of the guide. The rest of the guide you're going to staple together or bind together, whatever you're going to do, either Surlocks or staple. So there's the cover page. On top of that is the rest of the guide's about 30 pages. And that's the cover letter. So very, very straightforward. Any other questions you think we haven't covered, Jazz, or any other comments you want to throw out there?
In terms of that pre-listing package now, do you suggest couriering it? Are we dropping it off? What's the process with that?
Well, I would suggest we actually try to drop it off and try to find a time where you think they might be home.
Okay.
So Saturday mornings are a great time.
Yeah.
Like I said, people are home. Go by on a Wednesday night, you know, especially if it's fall or winter, people are home. you know, especially if they got kids. Drive by, you got a car in the garage, knock on the door. Nobody's there, come by the next day.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Try to get a quick face-to-face, and you're not there to walk in and do a CMA, do a listing presentation. You're just there to say, hey, I was in the area. I thought I'd drop it off rather than mailing it. Here's my card. If you have any questions, please review it. If you have any questions at all, no pressure. I'm here to help whenever you want. And then you follow up. And you know, sometimes right at the door, people say, hey, come on in. Have a look at our house. They're proud of their house. You'd be surprised, right?
Right.
Try to get a face-to-face as much as possible. And, yeah, don't just courier it. Unless you've got, you know, 1,000 leads a month coming in.
Sure.
You can do this one-on-one.
Right.
So if you've got 5 leads a week coming in off your website or off your marketing, you just nail off all 5 on Saturday morning.
Exactly. Yeah.
You've got open houses. You do it before that. Go by 9:30 in the morning. Bring them a cup of coffee. Like, just think outside the box here. You know, somebody shows up at your door 9:30 in the morning with Timmy's coffee and your package.
I'm going to remember him.
You're going to remember him. Hey, no
For
pressure.
sure.
I'm not here to have coffee with you. This is one coffee for you.
Yeah.
You know, the wife is there. Hang on, I got another one in the car. You know?
I like that, yeah.
Just think a little outside the box, right? And, you know, as cheesy as it sounds, they're going to remember you, right?
For sure.
A cup of coffee costs you $1, okay? And then follow up. And then we've got all kinds of different strategies for follow-up in terms of what do you send them out. You're seeing our emails with market updates and interesting articles and different stories, and that's pretty much it. But the key is follow up. And let's end the training before people fall asleep.
Yep.
Because I want them to get off this video and go follow up on all their leads. Okay? So have a great day, guys. Thanks to Jazz for being on the call and helping out. And if you have any questions, fire us an email or bring the questions to the next sales meeting. Okay? Have a great day and go lift something. Take care, guys.